The Canadian pension plan and when to take your CPP is one of the biggest decisions you will face as you get closer to retirement. And I always say a lot of you take it at the wrong time, but more importantly, most of you have no idea the difference between taking it at 60, 65, or 70, or somewhere in between. So in this video, I want to give you just a basic overview of what your financial planner should be doing or what you should be doing on your own around looking at timing with CPP. Again, there's typically a better time and a not so good time to take it. So let's jump into this software and actually look at taking a CPP at 60, 65, 70, how basic it can be from a surface level. And that's all we're looking at today. What's the difference between taking CPP for this client between 60, 65, and 70? And again, this is a process that your financial planner should be doing for you. If they're not, you need to move on or push back and ask them to. If your planner says, oh, take CPP at this time, ask them why. Have them show you what the difference is between taking it now or a bit later, or a bit earlier. It's a big decision that's going to cost you potentially a lot of money, and I'll break those numbers down in this video. To start with, we're going to look at CPP at age 60. So we have a 55-year-old client, single person making $85,000 a year. Their employment income will grow with inflation over the next 5 years. They're planning to retire at 60. We've left the CPP at 60, old age security at 65, which is the earliest they can take that. Again, we're not looking at OAS in this video, just CPP. So again, just one level of many levels that you need to be looking at with your planner. So we put CPP at 60, maximum 80% at age 65. So it's going to be reduced slightly because they're taking it early. They also have a few assets, so I'll just quickly go through that. We've left all this data the same in all three scenarios. The only number we're changing is when they're taking their CPP. So this person has a $400,000 RRSP, $95,000 in the TFSA, and a $300,000 LIRA from a previous employer. So when this client came to us, they said, look, Adam, I think I'm ready for retirement. I need just a little bit less than what I'm collecting now, which was they were living off about $60,000 a year after tax. So what we did is we started the CPP at 60, and you can see here, without any tax planning around the drawdown of RSP, TFSA, and that, just looking at CPP, he's going to have around $53,599 after tax, adjusted for inflation every year, and this goes down to age 90. So that is his income through retirement if he decides to take CPP at 60. So let's look at, well, if you delay to 65, how much more could you get potentially? So here we have Mr. YouTube, same client, same income, everything's the same except we bumped his CPP all the way till 65 versus age 60. And you can see that the income bump is $55,215. That's $1,616 every single year after tax for 30 years of retirement. That's a lot of money. So if you're thinking about, well, 60, 65, a lot of you, the average is age 62. A lot of you take it too early. Again, for Mr. YouTube here, if he was to take his CPP at 65 versus 60, he's putting in an extra $1,600 after tax in his pocket every year. I don't know any retiree that wouldn't take that deal. Now let's quickly look at age 70 CPP, and then I want to dive into some deeper numbers and also show you a bit of an RSP meltdown and how we could plan beyond what we're looking here from a surface level. The deeper numbers really matter, and it will really signify why this is so important to dig into this stuff. So at age 70, again, everything else being equal, we've been able to bump his income up to $56,146. So if we look at the difference between taking it at 60, which was his original intention, and age 70, which might be the best decision, a total difference of $2,547. That's a lot of dollars every single year after tax in his pocket. It's over $200 a month of extra spending. So if you're considering like timing around, you need to go through this process with your financial planner. I want to thank today's sponsor of the video, Harvest ETFs. If you're nearing retirement, managing cash flow is key. Harvest ETFs recently launched 3 new funds, all options you should look at if you're aiming to invest for consistent and solid cash flow. The 3 funds are Harvest Balanced Income and Growth ETF, HBIG on the TSX, Harvest Balanced Income and Growth Enhanced ETF, HBIE on the TSX, and the Harvest Industrial Leaders Income ETF, HIND on the TSX. The Harvest Balanced Income and Growth ETF is built to deliver high monthly cash distributions and the opportunity for capital appreciation. It invests in a portfolio of ETFs that provide exposure towards large cap equity securities and investment grade bonds or money market instruments issued by corporations or governments. It will primarily include ETFs that engage in covered call strategies. Benefits of investing in HBIG. It's simple and efficient way to invest in a 60-40 portfolio, which a lot of you are trying to accomplish. High monthly cash flows from covered calls in a balanced portfolio. Diversified portfolio of high quality, large cap equities and investment grade bonds with covered calls. Tactical asset allocation, leveraging portfolio management expertise for enhanced return and risk management. It provides a steady monthly cash distribution and low to medium risk profile. HBIE mentioned earlier is a similar ETF but has leverage included in the structure of the fund. HIND looks to benefit from the resurgent US manufacturing space. Interested in making these ETFs part of your retirement plan? Click the link below to learn more about Harvest ETF or speak to your investment advisor. When we look at the difference between CPP and 60-65, it was around $2,500 a month. Now, that is after tax and adjusted to inflation. So if we extrapolate that out over his retirement from age 60 to age 90, life expectancy, we're going to look at, well, how much extra money does he actually collect in his pocket, which is the nominal amount of money he will collect. And when we break that down and look at the nominal dollar amount, it actually equates to $119,000 extra money in his pocket. So for those of you looking to add $119,000 extra in their retirement pocket, this would be a good strategy for you. And again, this is Mr. YouTube strategy. This is his numbers, his option, but I bet yours don't look too different. So again, make sure you work through this simple step with your financial planner. When is the best time for you, based on everything you have going on, to take your CPP? When you hit retirement, I tell people all the time, when you hit retirement, you have a lot of income sources. You have, in this case, he has a LIRA, an RSP, a TFSA, a CPP, and his OAS. He's got 5 income sources. He can turn some on, not turn some on, flex it a little bit. There's a lot more options. So for someone that's an employee that collects a paycheck, not a lot of tax flexibility, you gain that flexibility when you hit retirement, and you need to make sure you take real good advantage of it and run these numbers. Again, you may run these numbers and say, you know what, Adam, $119,000 isn't worth it for me. I can't get past the psychological barrier. I'm taking my CPP at 60. That's fine. You just got to make sure that that $53,000 in this case is enough to survive on. You need to know the consequence, potential consequence of taking it earlier. And I know a lot of the comments are flowing below of saying, yeah, Adam, but I'm going to die at 65 or 70. Statistically, you're not. And a lot of you use life expectancy at birth. Look, if you're 60 or 65 retiring, you need to look at life expectancy at that age. And we just did a video with Fred Vitesse, who was an actuary for many years, and talks about that. Like, people are using the wrong data for life expectancy. In fact, a 65-year-old couple, the chances one of you live into 90s is close to 50%. Like, it's high. You're going to live to your late 80s, early 90s. Historically, I actually ran a life expectancy on myself the other day, and it said 98. I don't know if I want to live that long, but that's what it's telling me now. So again, for younger people, you're probably going to live a lot older than even your parents are currently doing. So something to keep in mind as you look at your planning. Now, one last thing you want to look at with your planner. I know a lot of you have been pushing back on your financial planner, your investment person, whoever's kind of looking at your plan on this, and good on you. I'm glad you're taking some of the content that I teach here and you see elsewhere, and you're actually incorporating it into your current planning situation. But here we're looking at CPP at 70. So again, that made a lot of sense to take CPP at 70. But if you look closely, it was kind of drawing down TFSA too quickly. It wasn't a great tax situation. So what we've done here is we've changed it, and again, this is high level, didn't spend much time on it, but just to give you an idea of what you need to be doing with your financial planner. So we've started drawing down the maximum amount. It's a BC Lira that this client has. So the maximum we can take out of there every year. Unfortunately, you can't get rid of those before age 90. But your RSP, so convert to a RIF and start drawing that out a bit more aggressively before age 70 when the CPP starts. What we're trying to do is level out this effective tax rate. So get it within about 1 or 2% ideally. And that's what we've been able to do here. And again, if you look at this, look at that, 56,578. So a little bit more after-tax income in their pocket. Now, for all of you naysayers that say, Adam, no, because if I die early at age 80, I'm going to have less money doing this. I'm melting down my money. I'm not taking CPP. Well, look at this. Let's jump to age 80, and we're going to look at their estate after tax. And I'm looking at this for the first time, but I've done this enough to know, and yeah, look at that. So on the very left, we have CPP at age 70 and proper RSP meltdown and tax planning within strategy. At age 80, if this client was to pass away, the after-tax value in real dollars is $724,000 passing on. On the very far right, we have CPP at 60. So a lot of you say, yeah, Adam, I take my CPP early, leave my money, because if I die earlier, then my estate gets more. Well, in this case, they took CPP at 60, left their money, and they don't even have as much. So delaying CPP, burning down your own money, but doing it in the right way actually gave them more at age 80. Now, if I bumped it back to 75, it might be a lot closer, maybe a little pendulum swing to the 60. But again, life expectancy is late 80s. So this is an early death. This is about 7 or 8 years earlier than they should pass away. And again, you can see age 65 and age 70 without the proper tax planning. So again, if you're just looking at this and your plan says, see, this doesn't make sense, age 70 doesn't work. They haven't done the proper tax planning. This tax planning gave them more estate at age 80, more after-tax income ongoing, and allowed them to take their CPP at 70 and just maximize the overall value. So there's a bit more information on CPP. I know all of you love CPP, love talking about it, looking at it, conversing at work. This is the process you have to go through. This is what we go through with our clients, a lot deeper in this, but this is a high-level view of just looking at CPP and then incorporating everything else. And there's a lot of moving parts when you look at a retirement plan. And a lot of you are looking at it kind of in a linear, simple equation, and it's not. It needs to kind of all incorporate together. Again, if you're worried about your estate at age 80, taking CPP at 70 without proper planning didn't look that great. But as soon as I did proper planning amongst your other accounts, the estate bumped up higher than taking your CPP at age 60 and left you in a great position and gave you the most money during your retirement, which is most important. You worked hard for your retirement. Let's maximize it. So go through this process with your financial planner. If you need help with this, reach out to our office. We do offer fee-for-service planning. You can learn more at parallelwealth.com/planning.